Hey, what's up, phone numbers, and welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of July 18th, 2014. I'm Joe Fidua.
And I am Chris Chavez.
Yeah, and I'm Kevin Kraus.
Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah. I
You don't
told
have
you,
to wa-
man.
you don't have to watch the show as a commenter this week.
It's Google's beta. Everything's always in beta, man. And Hangouts is no different.
I guess this means we don't get to rip on Chris with him not being able to defend himself.
Yeah, that was pretty fun, I have to say.
It's the worst thing.
Well, it's a good thing you're back this week because we have an awesome, fun topic to talk about that you didn't get to talk about last week. So first, you can talk about that. The
Yeah.
OnePlus One. There was some drama this week, but first, you had a OnePlus One momentarily. Tell us about that.
Briefly.
It's like a lot of phones I will that come out. But basically, I got an invite for the OnePlus One. I was sitting on it for like a good couple of days, and I was like, man. And I noticed everyone's still, man, where can I get that invite? And da 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 da. I was going to give it away like on Twitter or something, but after I saw the reaction of everyone like, yo, give me the invite, I was like, okay, maybe I have something special here. So I just went ahead and bought it. I got the 64 gigabyte Sandstone, and it came pretty dang quick. But
And there was something in the box, right?
this time there was something in the box. The charger comes separately, which is kind of odd. So you get like your box, and then there's like this little separate package for the charger, which is a little bit strange, but super premium box. I mean, out of all the smartphones, I mean, this is like the most premium box. This was Google Glass quality packaging, like so nice, like the soy paper. It's amazing. But it came with headphones. Oh, no, not headphones. The USB charger, the USB cable itself was like this, like fettuccine noodle, but it was like so premium, and the edges are all soft. Everything was just so premium on that phone. But ultimately, the phone was just a little too big for me. So I tried to, play with it and use it. I made it my primary device for like a couple days, and just couldn't get over how insanely large it was, and ultimately just went back to my HTC One M8, which now feels really small in my hand. And I was originally going to sell my M8 because I thought this was too big, but it's like maybe I stretched out my thumbs or something after playing with the OnePlus, but exercised it. But now the M8 is completely small and it fits perfectly in my hand, so I don't know. Yeah, the phone just wasn't for me. Sold it on Craigslist. Some guy was really excited to get it, and I made his day. But that's pretty much all there is to it, I guess.
You made a cool profit off that.
Yeah, I was originally listed it just to pay for shipping or whatever. But some guy, as soon as I listed it on Craigslist, and I've never seen this with any other phone, it was like bloop 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 bloop, just text message after text message after. Everyone's calling me, blowing up my phone, like, yo, can I get that? Some people trying to lowball you, and then this guy comes out of nowhere and he's like, I'll give you $500 for the phone right now. And I was like, oh, I was already talking to someone else about selling it to them, and then that guy just jumped straight to the front of the line. He was just like, boop.
That's
And,
surprising. The OnePlus One, the thing with that phone is my experience with it, since it's mostly, you have to order it online and there's so much hype online. I thought, yeah, this is like a hyped up thing on the internet among fanboys. I didn't realize that it would get that much real world excitement from people.
Because it's just so hard to get. I mean, I feel like
Yeah, even for the fanboys.
exactly. So, I mean, you will see in the comment section people, oh, this is ridiculous, and just all the invite thing is ridiculous, and da da da. And everyone's so pissed off because they want the phone so bad. So that's kind of saying something. It's not like there's no demand for it. So there's just insane demand for it, and everyone just gets so upset because it's like it's such a good phone, spec-wise, hardware-wise, and everywhere but the display. But I guess we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, go ahead and lead into that, Chris.
All right, so this is I guess an issue with the phone's display. The OnePlus One has this like yellow band. I wouldn't even call it a yellow band. It's just like a slight yellow tinge towards the bottom, down where the capacitive keys are, and it just kind of bleeds up into the display a little bit. Really, really weird. And I've actually seen this, and everyone's freaking out on OnePlus One forums. there's this whole like fiasco, I guess, involved. OnePlus is banning members and this and that for complaining about it. They're just trying to, they're like in full panic mode. But I've actually seen this issue before. I've had it on my, I believe it was the Nexus 4. When I first ordered the Nexus 4, I was one of the very first people. I got really lucky, and I was one of the first Nexus 4s. And it had the little yellow stuff, but it wasn't just on the bottom. It was like on the top, it was on the bottom, and it was a little bit on the sides. And I went online, looked up a bunch of stuff, and apparently it has to do with the glue. When you glue the digitizer onto the display or something weird like that, the glue has to cure. And usually they put it under like some sort of UV light for a while, and then that yellowness goes away and turns clear or transparent. But apparently, I mean, sometimes, you know, when they're trying to rush and they're trying to pump out all these devices and do this and that, they just didn't have time to do it. So people are saying that it'll go away on its own. On the Nexus 4, it actually did go away on its own. And apparently, if you take it out into the sunlight, the sun's natural UV rays will just go ahead and cure it into a transparent thing. But I'm not really sure if that's the problem with OnePlus One, but it looked very, very similar to what I saw with the Nexus 4. But anyways, people are freaking out. Of course, they are not happy with it, so they're receiving the product. They're unhappy with the yellow tinge, and OnePlus is just kind of handling it pretty poorly.
They're handling it like OnePlus handles things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just like three guys. There's just three guys over there at OnePlus, and then they're just like, yo, you guys want to handle this customer complaints? And they're just like, yeah, all right. And some person's just banging on the keyboard, and it's really bad. At first, they're trying to attribute it to just the different displays, which happens sometimes when you buy a smartphone. I know I had like a couple of, can't remember the phone back in the day, but one had like a warmer tint compared to the other, and a lot of times it's the software does that, and they're saying CyanogenMod makes the whole tint a little bit warmer. But this wasn't the issue. The issue is this yellow bleeding from the bottom. So
is this happening, like, is this widespread? Is it on every phone or just a few phones here and there?
I haven't seen one person. I don't think I've ever seen one comment of anyone that actually has the phone saying they don't have the issue. So
was it on the one you had?
It was definitely on the one I had, yeah. And it kind of bothered me a little bit, but like I said, I just kind of assumed it was just the glue that needed to cure. So I didn't really freak out too much. I just figured, you know, it wouldn't be that big a deal. And there's an option on the phone to use software keys. So once you use software keys, boop, that big black box goes up to like, you know, an inch or so, half an inch or so. You can't even see the yellowness anymore. So it's not that big. Only a big deal when, or you only notice it when you take away the software keys and you're using capacitive. But pretty much everyone I know is having this issue, and OnePlus is kind of trying to shift the blame onto their the manufacturer of the displays, which is, I believe, JDDI or something. So these Japanese displays are just saying just aren't up to snuff. But
did you see any of the emails? I saw a few people post screenshots of emails they received from OnePlus when they complained, and some of those, the OnePlus guy was saying like, this is normal, you know, you'll see this on most phones. People that are posting pictures of the yellow have like edited the photos to make it a more and stuff like that. I'm like, really?
Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know how. On one end, you have people who are very, very OCD and they want their phone to be completely perfect, and you know, it's not like the phone costs that much. So you could kind of say maybe like, well, you know, it's a cheap phone. You know, there's going to be some inconsistencies or whatever. But on the other hand, it's like this phone is so, you know, never settle, and they're literally asking their customers, please settle on this display because they're all like that, and you know, it's not us, it's our display manufacturer, and yada yada yada, and it's just been into this whole fiasco. And what is it? The guy that's been trying to leak the Moto X Plus One, he had a supposed email, and I'm not sure how legit it is, but he got an email from OnePlus PR supposedly, and it said something about like his video that he posted. They were trying to like bribe him $5,000. Can you please take down this negative video that you did?
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
And that I was kind of following up on it, and it's still kind of up in the air whether or not it's legit or not, because people are like, oh, you can spoof emails and you can do this and that. So it's like, I don't know, but it's a nightmare. It's a PR nightmare, and I don't know what OnePlus is going to do as far as damage control, because
Yeah, I kind of feel sympathetic for OnePlus slightly because this whole OnePlus One launch has just been, it's like they bit off more than they could chew. Like the phone, the hype machine just blew this phone up, and now OnePlus One is like, I don't know if they set them themselves or if consumers set these high expectations, but for one reason or another, OnePlus One the bar has been set super high, and OnePlus has failed to meet it at certain times, and it's caused this backlash. And I am sympathetic in that respect, but they've handled it very poorly. Almost every PR fiasco that's come up, they've just handled it very poorly. You can tell it's a young company that's growing and doesn't have much experience in this field. Or, I mean, maybe they do have the experience and they're just arrogant or,
Well, because
I don't know.
he's an ex-Oppo exec, right? So he was with Oppo. Oppo's still, I mean, they're a big electronics manufacturer, but smartphones was never really their main source of income, whatever. So they just kind of experimented with smartphones. Yeah, they made a really great smartphone, but with he, I guess, what's his name, Pete Lau or whatever, he just probably saw that and was like, you know what, making a smartphone is easy, and we already have someone to manufacture it for us. Let's just make a smartphone company. Like, everyone's doing it these days. I think we can do it. And he really just bit off more than he can chew. I mean, when you don't have these devices that you can mass produce, and just all these different factors that go into the whole smartphone business, it just feels like he couldn't weigh it out, enough, and they can't even, normally with any other manufacturer, and Motorola, anyone, they'd be like, you know what, send it back to us, no big deal, we'll ship you out a nicer, phone or whatever. But with him, it's going to take such a big hit from his business, he can't do that. I mean, he's barely making any profit off of these phones. It's just, they can't. So they're just trying to cover it up. They're trying to brush it under the rug. They're trying to say, maybe it's something else. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I mean, I kind of just want to say a big "I told you so" because this was honestly the reason why I was so. I mean, before they actually even announced the phone and they were hyping all this stuff, I didn't like it, and this is the exact reason why. Because Kevin, like you were saying, is this a self-inflicted too much hype? And I think it absolutely is. They set the bar way too high, and they're having trouble, reaching it, and they're not handling it very well.
It's kind of like, it's the issue. It's sort of like when you go someplace and you're like, should I buy this blank from this mom and pop store, and you try to go back if you have a problem with it, and they're not gonna do returns or this and that, or should I buy it from, spend a little bit more and buy it from like this high-end retailer who they have an awesome return policy, if I have any problems with this I can bring it back, they'll replace it. It's the exact same thing. So this no-name Chinese company, I mean, yeah, you're going to save a lot of money. Yeah, the phone is really good. I mean, the phone was great. I'll give it that. Awesome camera, awesome battery life. Android was great on it. Super light. It felt like a feather in my hand. So much good stuff about that phone, but it's coming from some small company. And if there are issues like this in manufacturing or whatever, hardware defects, you're SOL, literally. So it's like, is that a trade-off for saving a few bucks?
I mean, I don't really like that example comparison of the mom and pop, because usually if you go to a mom and pop, a smaller place, you're going there because you get good customer service and like it's more friendly, and if something does go wrong, you can probably go back and they'll be real nice about it. I feel like OnePlus is the exact opposite. It's like it should be a nice.
It's the soup Nazi. It's the soup Nazi from Seinfeld, right?
Yeah.
Like they have great soup, but like if you complain, you say anything, they're gonna get out of here. No soup.
No fun for you.
You're done. No one phone for you.
Yeah. Well, you also have to think about the audience they're targeting, because it's like a more I mean, it is a popular phone in certain circles, but it's kind of underground. It's like the people that know about this phone are the Android fans, and we know how Android fans are because we've dealt with them for many years, and we've been Android fans, and we have this experience. To me, I compare it kind of like, they're making a new Star Wars movie. If that movie is anything less than perfect, people are going to tear it apart.
That's a good comparison.
So it's like, oh, we're going to make this great cell phone, and if it's anything less than what people said it was going to be, then Android fans, of course, they're going to tear it apart, because that's just the basis of kind of the fandom of Android.
The fandom, and they brought it upon themselves with the never settle thing, and anytime anything happens, people are like, oh, we're settling. So it was tough. It's tough.
That slogan alone has come back to bite them so much.
It has haunted them. Oh, it's going to be the death. The death of that company is their dang slogan. So ridiculous.
All right, well, let's move on from OnePlus, and we'll talk about an editorial I wrote this week called "It's Time to Stop Treating Android Wear Like a Phone." And this is kind of a hot topic lately from a lot of different places, and I'll be a hipster and say that I talked about this first on the podcast last week.
Ooh, I
No,
think.
I didn't really. I
Well,
mentioned it, but
I think it's something we've been talking about for a
right,
long
right.
time on the podcast, not specifically in relation to Android Wear, but just smartwatches.
Right. So basically, the gist of this editorial is that I have been noticing a lot of the apps that have been made specifically for Android Wear. I feel like they miss the point of what Android Wear is supposed to be, and they're just shrunken down phone apps. And you can see this in there's some calculator apps, there's some keyboard app now, there's an app launcher, things like this that are basically blatantly against what Google wants because there's a video where Google has made for people designing Android Wear apps, and they say things like, you should avoid apps that have like small buttons that you need to have precise taps and things like that. And there's so many of these apps that are breaking those guidelines. So I wrote about this, and a lot of the commenters, I think, missed the point of what I was saying, and they think that I'm saying Android shouldn't be free, and you should just do what Google wants to do, and yada yada yada. That couldn't be further from the truth. I just want these developers to do what they are doing, but point that in a different direction, because they're doing the same thing that they've done for phones, pushing the limits, but they're not embracing the new form factor. Like, I'm all for pushing the limits of what you can do, but I want more imagination. Push the limits of what a smartwatch can do, not just a phone.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, you're entitled to do. I mean, I think that's true. Like, you're entitled to do with Android Wear whatever you want. I mean, if they can do it, sure. But I mean, there's a separation between what Google wants and what just makes sense. And I think what Google wants is what makes sense for the form factor. It's stop trying to put these experiences that aren't fit for that size screen onto an Android Wear watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, with the keyboard thing, I guess on Minuum, they were showing off their little weird keyboard that works on Android Wear. They had a little proof of concept video that they released, but I was kind of against it at first. I was like, this is completely ridiculous. Why are they trying to put? It's not what Android Wear is about. It's got a microphone. You're supposed to talk to it. You got these actions, this and that. But I mean, I think it is kind of cool when developers do kind of try to push these limits a little bit, because the other day I was at the movie theater, and during the movie, my girlfriend messaged me and she was like, "Oh, hey, I'm at the mall, with some friends. Like, what time are you going to be out of the movie?" I didn't want to whip out my phone and say, "Oh, we'll be out in 30 minutes or we'll be out in an hour or something. Just hang tight." And I couldn't speak into my watch because it's I was watching Planet of the Apes. There's people dying, things exploding everywhere. So I couldn't even use that. But it would have been really convenient to have just typed in a little message like, "Yo, I'll be out in 30" or something. That would have been.
To me, that situation, I feel like if you aren't in a place where you can whip out your phone to do it, maybe you shouldn't be doing it on your watch either.
Yeah.
With Android Wear, the display is always on, so it's like even it was kind of funny because I'm in the theater and you could just see my watch. It's just glowing all the time. The display is always on, so it's like it would have been really easy just to like doot, 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 doot. So it's not like it would, I guess, distract anybody around me or anything. And there was some people in the comments they were just like, "Oh, you should have just spoke a message into your phone," and I'm like, that would have been just as distracting. Like, "Hey, I'll meet you." And everyone's like, "Hey, shut up, wise guy." And it's just like,
and as if the watch would probably, I don't know, I would think that in that situation it might be hard. I feel like you're whispering into it with all this Dolby Digital sound in the background. Like, is it really going to pick it up properly? So I don't know.
It was a little difficult. And if it was just like a, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm not going to whip out my phone, yo, what's up? Right. It was kind of like something I needed to address at that moment. And I'm sure there's always situations like that. And just having a keyboard, even like Minuum, not to draft out emails and write up posts on Phandroid, but just for some quick little 3-word messages back to someone, I think it could be like really convenient.
Yeah, and I think they should include more quick reply type things that you can do
Yeah.
without using your voice for situations like that.
Again, but like you said, like Google is limiting what you can do on Android Wear, and they're doing it on purpose. They have like a very clear vision for what you're supposed to do. Not supposed to take you out of whatever you're doing. You're supposed to just be able to
Right.
glance, quickly do something. That's why they don't even want you punching on it or really tapping too
Yeah.
much, because that's way too much time invested. You're just supposed to speak it and be on your way. So
They should have
Yeah.
a feature where you check into the movie, and then anybody that has access can go and be like, oh, the movie will be over in 30 minutes. So then you don't have to even talk to anybody. We'll just be able to look up where you are and how much more the movie has.
I'm pretty sure that would probably. I mean, I'm sure that's coming. Like what, Foursquare? I think Foursquare allows you to do movie check-ins, and like
Yeah.
they show the theater times and all that stuff too. So I'm sure that'll come very shortly.
I think part of this, the reason that some of these apps are being made too, is that people are using Android Wear incorrectly. Just from what a lot of people have said in the comments of my article and other things, when people describe what they want to be able to do with Android Wear, it sounds basically like they're saying they want to
They
have
want it to be
another phone that doesn't
exactly.
have to be in their pocket all the time.
And at first, yeah, you think you want that. So you're like, yeah, I want my smartwatch to be able to do all this stuff. And then you say, wait, then why the heck would I have a smartwatch if I just
Right.
have my phone? Like, oh, so I want a tiny phone on my wrist or something. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, why
there's-
do you need your smartphone anymore? It's like, you gotta balance it out. You gotta know like
It's
what your
hard.
purposes are.
It's hard though because it's like you get a brand new device like the smartwatch or whatever, and you want to use it all the time, but yet the device is made that you don't like have to use it all the time, you know?
That's
So I
so
think that's a
true.
problem why a lot of people are having. Like they want to just like use it all the time because it's new, but that's not really how it's meant to work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a
Exactly.
reason why the trend is that smartphone displays have been getting bigger and bigger. It's because the experiences are being more complicated and more complicated, and so then you want to just all of a sudden shrink that experience back down to a 1.5-inch display. It doesn't make much sense to me.
I like what Joe said though, because there are times when I'm sitting around doing nothing, and normally you pull out your smartphone, you play with that or check Twitter or do whatever. I will just look at my watch, and there's absolutely nothing on there, and I'm like, I want to do something with this. I spent friggin' $300 on it, and I just swipe, look at the weather. Okay,
I'll tell you what.
I'm done.
I'll tell you what was a great addition to Android Wear though is the Tinder app. Looks like a pretty promising application. You can just look at your watch and swipe through. That has the interface for it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's like the Duolingo app where you can swipe through flashcards. Like if you had some time to kill, you wanted to do something quick. I mean,
Yeah,
there are
those
apps
are
that
cool.
are designed better.
The time wasters and stuff
Yeah,
when you
time
want to use your smartwatch. But so far I like it though. Like Android Wear, it's pretty cool. It's been useful. I would just like to see more apps supported. There's a lot of notifications you get from like Facebook Messenger,
Right.
Kik. There's a lot of stuff that I get where you can't reply. There's no actions. There's no anything. I can't even see more than just like the first little sentence because notification. They're not really using Android's notifications to the fullest. So, but it's starting out.
As someone who has both, and not necessarily as both platforms sit now, but with the potential that they have, would you rather use Google Glass or Android Wear, or could you use them at the same time? Like, does one replace the other?
They definitely you can't use both at the same time, but so Android Wear will show every notification from your phone. The way Google Glass works is it's running KitKat. It's like it has a full Android OS on that stupid little headset, but it doesn't show you every notification from your phone. It only shows you ones that are built specifically for Google Glass. So right now, only Hangouts is pretty much supported as far as messaging or text messages or emails. But I think Google Glass is I kind of I'm going back and forth, but right now I think Google Glass is way more functional and way more useful, and I think way more just convenient. The UI, I like the UI better. The time cards, you can always go back and see old messages. You can always da-da-da-da. With Android Wear, you swipe something away because you want to clear it out, but then you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna forget about it later. I just cleared out some message and what the heck, where did it go? You look on your phone, it's cleared out of your phone too. So it's just weird. And most of the time you're looking at your watch and there's nothing on it. There's nothing on it to do. But with Google Glass, you have a timeline. You can go back. You can see social stuff. I have it paired up with If It or If This and That. So you can see like BuzzFeed on there. I can click an article. I can watch videos on it. I'm doing all this cool stuff with Google Glass that really just isn't meant for Android Wear. So to me, I think Google Glass is better.
Chris, okay, go back to your example of the movie theater. What would you have done in that same situation if you were using Google Glass?
I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing. But it wouldn't be as distracting because you just have a little display and I'd be able to see it and read it and be like, oh, okay. And
that's not as distracting, right over your eye while you're watching a movie?
Well, it's not over your eye. I used to wear Google Glass in the theater. It's like hovering above it, so it's like picture in picture. It's like a little above where you're looking at in the movie. But even then, you'd get out of the theater and you could be able to swipe back to see what that notifications were. Oh, let me check like what I missed. With Android Wear, you can't. I mean, you could just kind of ignore it, but you forcefully want to just clear it out. It's really weird, but.
Well, don't clear it out.
Yeah, but then you get all these cards. You have like a bunch of Google Now cards that are just like piling up and pages on them top of each other, and then it gets so confusing and weird. It's just. Yeah.
Well, hey, if you would stop clearing them out, then when you look at your phone, it wouldn't always just be nothing there.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard because I'm so ingrained on my phone to just tap it, open it on my phone or whatever, check stuff. Swipe away notifications, but then on your watch you have to think, do I want to address this later? Let me not swipe it. And it's just so my muscle memory is just to clear out the notifications all the time. It's weird.
I guess the moral of the story is that it's still really in its infancy and people are figuring out how to use it and what works and what doesn't work. And I do think since it's so new, there are probably some people working on apps like as we speak that are going to be really cool creative apps for Wear that just haven't come out yet because they take longer to make than a Far app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch faces would be great.
Yeah, they got to build those from scratch as opposed to just taking their existing app and trying to just dumb it down and port it to Android Wear, So I have hope for the future of it. It's interesting though that Google Glass is going through this huge long sort of open beta period, whereas Android Wear they just kind of launch it and we're like, all right, the software is ready to go. So
and there are already more Android Wear apps than Google Glass apps.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's not really.
There definitely is, Chris.
I mean, there is, but they're not really. I wouldn't call them apps though. It's just there's more support. More apps are supporting Android Wear than they are Google Glass. But it's
either way, it's the same message, really.
Like with Google Glass, you do a lot different stuff though. Like with Android Wear.
Glass apologist.
Yeah, with Android Wear, it's just a code. Like you just plug in. Like you don't have to really do anything, and your notifications will show up on Android Wear. And if you want to add actions, it's just very small amounts of code. Google Glass, you gotta use their Mirror API, and you gotta do all this other weird stuff, and then you can do so much more with Google Glass than you can Android Wear. So it makes sense. And Android Wear is out. Android Wear is actually out, and people are buying it. So of course, people are going to be making apps for it. Where Google Glass is still, it's not even close to ready yet.
All right, so let's move on to some of our quicker news here. So Microsoft announced today that they're laying off 18,000 employees, and most of them are from Nokia, and a lot of people are saying this is like kind of a huge deal, but it's actually a pretty common thing to happen after an acquisition is that a lot of people get laid off from the company that was acquired, in this case Nokia. And then I guess while we were starting this podcast, Microsoft's like original Xbox TV series, whatever stuff is being killed off too.
A lot of changes. A lot of big changes.
Yeah. It's all the news changes of the Satya Nadella. So, and then also with that news was that they're gonna, I guess, kill the Nokia X Android phone line. We're not gonna see any more of those weird, crazy things.
Those weird redheaded.
Because they just launched the X2, right, or the new one.
And I think that one's only been rumored, hasn't it?
No,
was it real?
They announced a new X like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then what happened was around the same time rumors came out, like pretty believable rumors from good sources that said that they would actually make a Lumia Android phone. So
Hmm.
maybe they were working on a Lumia Android phone, but it sounds like we're not going to see it anymore.
Yeah, or that just got heard wrong or whatever, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft quickly stomped that out. That's crazy. I mean, the whole time with those Nokia X phones and stuff, we were, we went to Mobile World Congress and stuff, and we're just like, we're trying to figure out, well, why? It
Yeah, I
just
never
didn't,
understood it.
Yeah.
nobody understood it, and I don't know, except for maybe the people that were just trying to do it to do it. But
They weren't any cheaper than the low-end Nokia Windows Phone devices.
exactly, it made no
Yeah.
sense at all. And they were brand new Android, but you couldn't. It was just odd, very odd.
All right. So Samsung metal phones, the saga continues, and I guess they could be called Galaxy Alpha. Could be the name of the line of them. That'd be kind of a cool name. Galaxy Alpha.
Would they be
That's
premium devices? Would they be like flagship type phones?
That's the idea, I guess. They would be metal premium devices.
like premium as in build quality or premium as in like top. I mean, I guess they would be whatever like the Galaxy S5 is going to be. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I've been saying for years that I wanted Samsung to get better build quality, which is great. I mean, I still stand behind that, but at this point, I don't think a metal phone is going to salvage the kind of shoddy, laggy experience that is the Galaxy S5.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, if they would come out and have like the exact same design as the Galaxy S5, except it's metal instead of plastic,
that's exactly what I see them
it wouldn't
doing.
be enough. Like,
Yeah, like I would love to see them just completely like some. I don't even know. I'm not really that big on metal phones, but just their build quality in general is just always feels very
Yeah.
cheapy and
I
stuff.
was
But
super impressed with the G3's build quality because it's still kind of a plastic composite, but it had like a metal skin, which gave it a sort of a cool look, but also added like enough of a feel and look of quality and premium build quality that it kind of saved it from just being another plastic phone.
right.
So
yeah,
I like
I
that
mean,
approach.
it's just weird this whole trend in like metal stuff. It was like ever since Apple started making their computers in solid aluminum unibody, there was just this like
Aluminium.
people just began to associate that with premium. Oh, that is premium. I want my computer to be made out of solid aluminum, or my phone. It's got to have glass and aluminum on it. And it was
Aircraft grade, yeah.
like before that, nobody really noticed. Nobody really cared, or and no one's asking for a metal phone until the iPhone came out. And everyone's, oh, that's very nice. It's very
I won't
premium.
buy any phone unless it's tungsten.
Teflon like the freaking HTC One M8. I think
Is this phone non-stick?
it seriously is non-stick. Like the HTC One M8's ridiculous because they coat the entire phone with the oleophobic stuff, so you can't even it just slips everywhere out of your hands. It's ridiculous.
All right, we got some Apple interesting news. They are teaming up with IBM
Yeah, which is an
to make
interesting
mobile
part.
enterprise better. And yes, they have a long history of not being friendly with IBM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically two competing hardware manufacturers. I guess IBM has kind of, in recent years, moved out of being kind of a main builder of uh, personal computing stuff and has
Yeah.
moved more into like enterprise and business type hardware. So I guess it makes sense that things are shifting, and of course, a lot of stuff has changed with Apple since Steve Jobs passed away. So it's not all that surprising to me that something like this would be going on.
It would be really surprising if Steve Jobs was still alive because, I mean, back in his heyday, he just hated IBM.
They were
That's
not
true.
on the best terms.
I think someone put together a video actually, like of all Steve Jobs things he said about IBM over the years, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then lastly, in our quick hits, Windows Phone 8.1 is rolling out to devices now, except for like AT&T as usual. And that's not the developer preview. That's like actual public release. And someone is mowing their lawn right now, and it's super loud.
So do you still have a Windows Phone device? Have you tested it out, the final release yet?
My wife is actually using mine because her Android phone broke, and I've been keeping it updated and stuff. I haven't used it much myself, but it works.
Yeah. I mean, do they have the final? I guess they would have like the final version of Cortana and everything with all.
Yep. Everything's finalized. I think there were some like lock screen features that were held out of the developer preview that should be in there now. So yeah.
Cool.
But I'll let you guys know when I get it on AT&T, and hopefully it's cool.
Cool.
All right. So wins and fails of the week, Kevin.
All right, my win of the week. Football season's right around the corner. I'm always very excited about that. Go Ravens. But the
Go
NFL Sunday
Lions.
ticket, the NFL Sunday ticket, which is a package that has been exclusive to DirecTV customers for years, and like a big thing. In the I think AT&T was going to buy, or did AT&T buy DirecTV already? Anyway, this Sunday ticket thing is huge, and part of whenever DirecTV is in negotiations to sell. This is always a big thing because the Sunday ticket is a huge package with the NFL and a big revenue generator. So it's really cool to hear that they're finally decoupling it from the satellite service this season. You don't have to have you used to be able to access it on your mobile devices, but you had to have a DirecTV subscription with the package. Now they're going to sell it as a standalone package that you'll be able to get on your mobile devices. The bad news is it's still pretty expensive. It's going to be $199 for the season, but you get access to watching all the out-of-market games. You get streaming on your mobile devices, and you can pay a little bit extra money. I think if you pay like $350, you get NFL Red Zone on your mobile devices, which shows you, live updates from all the games on Sundays. So a lot of cool stuff for football fans. It's a little pricey again, but if you absolutely love watching every game and don't want to miss out, now you don't have to get DirecTV. So that's
you said it is only just out-of-market teams, though?
Yeah, I think it's the out-of-market games because, you're assuming you're probably going to get your local game on whatever.
Man, I hate that. I wanted to get the MLB TV, which is pretty much the same thing for baseball, but you can't watch your local teams either. And
well, it's even worse for baseball. I know your pain because I don't know if it's every baseball team, but at least here in Maryland, the local team is a cable channel, so most of the games I can't watch. I was going to pay for MLB TV as opposed to the more expensive cable package, but MLB TV doesn't let you watch in-market games, so it would have been a waste of money.
Yeah.
But football is a little bit different again because most NFL games still come on your local channels, and I think now all of them are because they moved the Thursday night games over to CBS instead of NFL Network.
I think they still have Thursday night games on cable, don't they? I thought it was just like another game.
No, it's all Thursday night games, or at least a lot of the Thursday night games are going to be on CBS.
Oh, cool.
So, but anyway, so if you're a football fan and you win all the NFL Sunday ticket stuff and you haven't been able to because you don't have satellite, now's your chance to get it. It's definitely on iOS tablets and phones, and I'm pretty sure Android as well. So you're covered, and you can even get it on some gaming consoles and things like that if you pay for a higher tier. My fail of the week, this is kind of just like a general thing. Just recently, we're getting close to September, which is the rumored launch of the iPhone 6. And this was kind of an issue last year with the iPhone 5S. I think it's an even bigger issue this year. Normally we love leaks and rumors and everything, but there's something about these iPhone leaks and rumors that ruins the mystique for me a little bit. Kind of like we were just talking about Steve Jobs. Back in the day, Steve Jobs, if you had the leaked iPhone 4, a bunch of cops were knocking down your door with a search warrant. Now it seems like every other day we have a new picture of the rumored back or the screen or all sorts of details coming out, which is cool. We get to learn about the phone, but I don't know. It kind of takes some of that mystery, and
it totally does.
It makes us, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying that part of what made the iPhone seem so premium is because it was so secretive and you just really didn't know. And now it seems like another smartphone. It's like we're going to know everything about it before they launch it, and it's not going to be that exciting.
That's the problem with leaks, and then people are just like, meh, when they finally do introduce it, and here's the new iPhone, and everyone's like freaking out, but now everyone's going to be like, yeah, we've already seen that for the past couple of months now. It's just, it sucks, honestly. It really does suck, but...
Oh, we have some clarification. We have some clarification real quick from a listener, Lou Rod 76. He says that and I do remember this. It's going to be the first 8 games are going to be on CBS, and then you get the next, I guess, however many remaining Thursday night, maybe I guess 8. I don't know if they have them 16 Thursday night games this year, but the rest are on NFL Network. So most of the games. So if you're a football fan, just to clear that up.
All right. So my win of the week is Weird Al Yankovic is back. He has a new album called Mandatory Fun.
Back
and
in a big way.
he's been releasing a music video every day this week. He's gonna do it for 8 straight days, right?
Yeah, 8 videos,
And
8 days.
he's at today was number 4, and I think they've all been pretty solid.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
best stuff I've heard from him in years.
Yeah, I really like the first two, Tacky and the Word Crimes. I like those two.
I think the word crimes was probably my favorite, just because I'm kind of an English nerd, and I think that's pretty funny. So, because that covers all those common, proofreading errors that people make, grammar mistakes. Thought that was good.
And then my fail is gonna be good old BlackBerry.
Are they still around?
Apparently they're still around, and apparently they're gonna get a Siri-like voice assistant.
Sweet.
I don't know. Every time I see BlackBerry news, I just have the typical comment or reaction of "Who cares?"
Yeah.
Like
Nobody-
I just really like, who cares?
Where
Is
did
there
they-
people out there that are still using BlackBerry and are like,
Yeah, I mean,
man, I really need a voice assistant?
who is paying for them to develop a voice assistant? Like, where are they getting this money?
That's what I'm saying. The money, the research and development for it. I mean, it's just who are these people? I don't get it.
What's the phrase going to be? Because there's OK Google, there's going to be Hey Siri. What's BlackBerry's going to be?
I don't know. It's gonna be
Stay
like-
in there. Stay in there, BlackBerry.
Stick with it.
Stick with it.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you got for us?
My win for the week is going to be the Google Wallet update. There was a pretty nice Google Wallet update for Android and iOS and everything. But it wasn't even so much the mobile app stuff that I was more excited about. They've actually gotten rid of the fees that are associated with sending money to people using your debit card. So I think previously you had to like attach a bank account or something on it, and then you could send money for free that way. And people, just didn't want to have to bother with routing numbers and doing all this stuff. So now you just punch in your debit card, save it on Google Wallet, and now you can send money back and forth to people. Super, super easy, no fees, completely free, and that is, I can't even explain how convenient that's going to be from now.
That's awesome.
And you can now request money from people. So instead of having to, say, hey, so and so, pay me, cool, or the other way around. Now you can just say, hey, give me some money, or remind someone to
Those
send me.
features remind me a lot of an app I use a lot from Square. I don't know if you guys ever use Square Cash, which is basically just send money, request money with no additional fees. You just put in your PIN number or your credit card number and go from there.
Oh, that is cool. I didn't know. I have the Square app, like the one where you use the little swipey thing.
This is a standalone app called Square Cash. I don't know if there's an Android version, but there's definitely it's iOS, and you just send a request, and it's all handled by email. Basically, if you email with CC Square Cash at Square and type in the dollar amount in your subject line, it'll request or deposit that money.
What do you guys use those apps for? I don't think I've ever sent money to someone like that.
I use it a lot. This is like just kind of dumb, but when I go to like a bar and they put all of our stuff on the same tab and I don't have cash to pay my friend, I just Square Cash him $15 and that's or something, whatever. So it's kind of convenient when I do stuff like that.
All the time. It's always PayPal. Right now it's always PayPal just because it's free when you have your bank account attached, and I have my bank account attached. But yeah, like he said, like last night I bought a pizza for me and my friend, but I have to request him. Actually, I'm going to request him money now that he owes me. Or when I go out for dinner, or let me see, my friend, I'm actually on his T-Mobile bill, so I have to send him money like every month, and it's just super, super easy. I'm always sending and receiving money through that stuff.
Man, I need to get into the 21st century. I'm always just like, hey, I'll owe you. Next time I see you, I'll get you.
Oh my gosh, and that never happened. That's the problem. Is that it's always like, yeah, I'll get it the next time, and it's like.
Well, it's so nice because you handle it
either.
immediately, like
exactly. Boom.
Instead of like, oh, I got to go to an ATM, or oh, like I'll buy the round next time. It's just like, here, you know what? Let's just avoid all the problem. Yeah, just do it now. Cool thing about Square Cash is if you get someone else to sign up, they deposit $1 in your account.
You should drop a link, make a post about it.
What's your fail?
So my fail is going to be the Android Wear Watch API, which apparently isn't out. So there's a lot of developers and stuff right now that are making or trying to make watch faces for Android Wear, and they're kind of just doing this, their own way. This is some kind of like hacky or like Joe said, janky way of just making watch faces, and that's kind of everything the watch is about, right? I mean, there's the notification stuff, and then it's like watch faces. It's a color screen. It's all about the different watches faces that you can put on it, and it's so ridiculous that it's just so Google. It's so Google. They would release a product, they would release an SDK, do all this other stuff, and still not release an API just to make like a basic function on it. And it's kind of like what we saw with like Chromecast and all this other stuff. And it's just so you just wouldn't see this with like Apple or
what's
someone
even
else.
the holdup? It's like it's a watch face. I mean, come on.
It's a watch. It just seems so easy, but it's just like I don't know if they didn't think about it, and maybe they're like, oh shoot, people want to make watch faces. We should try to make an API for this. But it's frustrating and annoying, and it's like whatever. It's so Google. So Google. That's my guy.
Yeah, and like so the watch faces now, I'm pretty sure you have it, so maybe you can confirm, but like since there is no API, if you get like a notification, don't they block like a lot of the watch face because there's no way for it to like, because in the ones that come on the watch, the notification kind of like shrinks smaller when the
just little bottom area. I'm not sure. I haven't seen those. I haven't used any watch faces yet because every one that I've seen so far has been kind of like ugly and hacky and just really weird. So I would love for there to be watch faces, but yeah. So Google's telling developers just hold off until the API comes out, and then you guys can make all the watch faces. So hopefully soon I'll be able to.
Why didn't they launch the API like immediately?
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. All right, Kevin, tell us about some apps.
All
or
right,
app.
My app for this week is from the makers of the popular Deer Hunter series of games, which are pretty addictive if you ever played them. But it's called Dino Hunter, so it's basically the same exact game as Deer Hunter, except you shoot dinosaurs, which is really cool, man. I love dinosaurs. I'm a huge dinosaur fan. And so there's tons of different dinosaurs in here. It's cool. It's got some like more like what they call exotic weapons, which are like futuristic like rail guns and like laser weapons and stuff.
It's like Turok the Dinosaur Hunter.
Yeah, it's a lot kind of like that. Mixed with Deer Hunter, addictive style gameplay. It's all about rewards. There's a heavy freemium elephant, a freemium element.
It's a different.
Yeah. That's a different game, yeah.
Yeah, there's a freemium aspect. You don't have to pay any money to like play the full game, but realistically, if you want to buy some of those more exotic weapons, you either need to play a lot or you need to pony up some cash for the in-game gold. But it's cool. I mean, it's plays exactly like the Deer Hunter series. So if you're a fan of that and you like dinosaurs, I highly recommend Dino Hunter. It's for iOS right now. I think an Android version should be coming soon. I would hope, but I'm pretty sure it's not out yet.
That's funny. I always feel weird in like those Deer Hunter games. I never understood people that like want to kill just animals and stuff. But I guess with dinosaurs, it kind of gets rid of all that. They're already dead, right? So
they had their chance.
They had their chance, and we won. We won.
We won. All right. So my app pick of the week is gonna be Popcorn Time again. I think we've had this as an app pick before, but this week they added Chromecast support, which is kind of a killer feature for this, because if you don't know, Popcorn Time is like Netflix for torrented movies, I guess. So like I opened up the app right here, and some of the apps the movies that I see, Lego Movie, Frozen, Grand Budapest Hotel. These are movies that are not on like Netflix or Hulu or anything, and you can just stream these. Instead of having to download them illegally, you can watch them illegally. And you can Chromecast it to your TV now, so that's pretty sweet.
That is friggin' awesome.
And it's free. It's free, but the one thing I'd say is that it can be kind of iffy sometimes, You don't always get I think they do try to do some quality control on the torrents, but you'll get some and they'll have codecs, so the audio won't work or the video won't work or something will be messed up about it. I haven't run into any like cam recorded movies from in the theater, but I've seen movies listed that are currently in theater, so I don't know if those are like review copies that got leaked to the internet or if those are like cam recorded copies, but they're out there.
Do they take forever for you to like get the movie started?
Sometimes, yeah. I haven't watched too many movies with it, but the few that I have been kind of. I mean, it's you're not paying anything to watch illegally
Right,
streamed
right.
movies, so
There's always a compromise, yeah. So that's funny.
Never settle.
Never. So that's my app pick for the week. So my app pick for the week is going to be it's an app, and I hope people don't give me crap for this, but it's on iOS only right now. But I'm assuming since it just came out, they're probably working on an Android version. But it's called Awkward, and it is kind of like in a similar vein to Secret and what is that, Yak, and those kind of anonymous sharing things apps. But Awkward is with video, so it's kind of like Vine meets Secret, and it's whatever. So you record yourself, spilling some sort of secret, and then using your front-facing camera or whatever, and you upload it, and then there's links so you can share it onto Twitter and Facebook and everything else. And to kind of create this anonymous type deal, there's a blur, like a blur filter, so you can blur your face, but
does it add like a voice thing?
No, I wish if they had a voice, and honestly, I'm probably going to download it just so I can leave them that. You guys need to add a voice filter, and you guys need to put the little pixel head that they always use, like in TV shows. They need a pixel head. I don't care if this blur stuff does not work, because I'm looking at people and I'm like, I can see exactly. If I knew that person, I would know exactly who that is. It's like slightly blurring out Kevin right now. You're going to know it's him. Same voice. Same general.
I would just take a video of something random and just talk.
Or just shoot it somewhere else, or just kind of hide with your front-facing camera or something. I don't know, but it's interesting, and
that's cool.
It's probably not the coolest thing, but it's kind of funny to see where these secret type apps are going now.
On that note, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought I saw Awkward in our app picks list, and I was like, is this going to be the official app for that show on MTV?
The TV show?
I've actually seen that show, and it's not bad, but I was like, official app? Okay.
No, I was going to say, on the same note, you mentioned Secret. I do want to give a shout-out to that app, because the most recent update added the ability to use your Facebook friends list, which to me makes it a lot better. You're going to have a lot more people on there now, because I've had so few friends on there since I first got the app, but now it's just gotten a lot better in the past couple of days since I added Facebook friends. So I really am happy to do that.
I need to go download that again. I uninstalled that after a day of using it.
Yeah.
This is gonna ruin my life.
If they could just add Twitter, I would like to see a Twitter thing, because Facebook, my grandma's on there. I don't want to know her dirty secrets and stuff.
Well, the idea is you wouldn't know.
I hate
your friends are crazy.
Yeah, but I don't.
Favorite grandkid.
I don't want to hear that. Or you'll see some secret from someone else's I hate all my grandchildren. I wish they would all die. And I'm gonna sit there thinking, Grandma, is that Grandma? It's gonna be just like my girlfriend. Every secret was I wrote it or something. But
the thing that is sucky about Secret is you can totally get people in trouble easily. Your grandma, for an example, would be an obvious one. What if I went on there and I'm friends with you and I hate all my grandchildren? Who are you going to think said that?
Not only that, it would be especially Chris. And then you could be trolling me, and I would think it's my grandma. Yeah, I guess that's true. That sucks.
I just blew your mind and crashed your world. Yeah.
I'm not going to even go back into that app ever again. That place is bad.
All right, well, I think that's going to wrap things up, unless you guys have any parting thoughts.
We do have a question here. I don't know if we want to tackle this.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer.
Maybe Chris would have some insight. Real quick, from Elliot Bellardo, what is the hardest known Android game? I guess, what do you think is the hardest?
Why don't we just do what is the hardest Android game we've ever played ourselves?
I'm still going to go with Flappy Bird was insanely hard. So that
was definitely a hard one. It was meant to be hard. There's that other, what's that? I can't remember what it's called. Velocity or frequency, or that little arrow, and you move the arrow around, and it's going to
Super Hexagon.
Super Hexagon.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't even call those hard Android games. I just call those like they're meant to like just frustrating. Those are just
Yeah.
purely frustration. You can only play for like a second or two and you die. I hate those games, but
Maybe that's an idea of list we could do. Hardest Android games. They'd be hard to
yeah,
figure out though.
hardest.
Yeah.
That'd be a good list.
Go hard.
I mean,
Like Android games that go the hardest.
like I love challenging games, but I don't like this trend in frustrating games. Like those aren't fun for me at all.
Yeah. All right. So you can get in touch with us, hashtag MobileRoar on Twitter, or you can send us an email, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Windows Phone Store. Leave us a review if you listen to us there. And you can follow us on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you all next week for more news and fun. See you later.
You guys.